What's up, guys? This is CypherBite, and today I'm going to be bringing you some tips and tricks for mainly the new players, but who knows? Maybe there might be a few in here that the veteran players might be able to take away. But yeah, anyway, just some tips and tricks that I have come to learn and know while playing ESO. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so here we are in the character creation screen. We're going to start from the beginning. I just have a few tips when it comes to creating a character. And the biggest one is to not get hung up on what race you choose, because this isn't a huge issue. The bonus you get from the race selection isn't huge. It's definitely helpful, especially if you're a min-maxer. Like if you're a veteran player, I understand race is very important. But to a new player that's just trying to start out in the game, or if you're just trying to play ESO and have fun or role play, the race doesn't matter. You should choose what you want to play. There are bonuses with each race, each and every one of them. You can go in and look for them yourself, but in the end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your overall ability to play the game that much. The bonuses are small, like I said. Kind of gives you a brief little synopsis of what the racial passive will be. All of them are passive. None of these are active skills. Same goes for alliance. So alliance is important, maybe a little bit more than race. This mainly dictates what race you're going to be able to play as well as also who you're going to be able to play with in the PvP zones. So when you're talking about playing with friends, I would probably try to play in whatever alliance that they are mainly playing with. If you have some friends that play ESO already, well, ask them what alliance they play. Because if you're going to be playing PvP and not just PvE content, then I would try to match their alliance. With that being said, you can actually switch your alliance anytime you want. And now you have to buy this little token in the crown store, and I'm not exactly sure how much they cost, but each time you decide you want to change your alliance, you have to use one of those tokens. Same goes for appearance, race, and name. I don't remember how I got these free tokens. I got these at one point, but anyway, you can change these things in the game. So it's not the end of the world if you decide you aren't happy with your name, your race, your alliance, anything like that. So moving on here, we have class choice. Now, while we're talking about characters, if this is your first time playing ESO, try to stay away from the Necromancer and the Arcanist class, because at least in my experience, from a new player standpoint, I would think that the Arcanist and the Necromancer are probably the more difficult classes to be proficient at least in the beginning. If you're a brand new player, I would recommend Dragon Knight or Nightblade, Sorcerer or Templar. Those ones are the ones that people tend to learn quickly, and they're all very powerful classes. If you're someone that wants to do some stuff that's all around, I would probably go Templar or Dragon Knight. If you want to be a sneaky one and do some backstabbing and some archery or whatever that may be a Nightblade. If you like wizardry, well, a Sorcerer would be right up your alley. The other class we have is Warden. That's a good class too. Honestly, it doesn't matter in the end. You could learn the Necromancer and the Arcanist classes, but if you're brand new to the game, I would recommend choosing these four: Templar, Dragon Knight, Sorcerer, or Nightblade, just for the first character, just for your not even to max level. I mean, you could just play this character for 25 levels, just get the hang of it and see what you think. So next tip would be to just enjoy the game. Don't grind until you're max level. This game has a lot of good quests and stories. Sure, there is a time and place to grind, but your first character, I would strongly recommend to just enjoy the journey. You don't want to burn yourself out. ESO is a huge game. You have the entire map of Tamriel plus some to explore, and it'd really be doing this game a great disservice if you didn't just enjoy it for what it is. A huge part of this game is questing, and each individual zone has its main story quests and its side quests, as well as delves and group dungeons and all that jazz. Well, if you just grinded your character to max level and didn't enjoy any of the story and the Elder Scrolls lore, you're missing more than half of the game. So my recommendation would be to just pick a zone that intrigues you. Maybe do a little Googling and see what story might intrigue you the most. Don't spoil it for yourself, of course, but find a zone, explore. There's lots to see. Each zone looks different. It's beautiful. There's some zones that are more pretty than others. I have my favorites, but anyway, I even have some that I have completely finished, 100% completion. Now that is took me quite a long time to do, but nonetheless, Ardon is a very beautiful zone, and so I enjoyed it quite much. While we're looking at the map here, something you should try to do is to don't forget to grab Sky Shards. Okay, Sky Shards are what help you gain more skill points in the game, and if you get 1, 2, and 3, you get a skill point. Okay, and I have a mod that allows me to see these Sky Shards, and when I get them, they go from black to white, as you can see right there. And so collecting these Sky Shards, they're in every single zone. 3 of them get you a skill point. Definitely something to collect while you're adventuring. As well as while you're grabbing Sky Shards, I would strongly recommend grabbing these lore books. Okay, this helps level up your Mage's Guild skill line. Kind of a no-brainer when you're out adventuring and you see a shiny purple book. They all look purple in the world, and sometimes they look like a piece of paper or like a scroll that's been pulled apart, opened, so to speak, so you can read it. Anyway, they'll shine bluish purple, and you can pick them up and they contribute to that skill line, therefore getting you more experience and therefore being able to use more Mage's Guild skill line skills. So again, how I'm able to see these Sky Shards and these lore books is because of an add-on, and I actually did a video on add-ons, some of my favorite add-ons that I use in ESO, and so if you'd like to check out the video, I will put that in the top right corner. Moving on. If you don't want to be a completionist, which I totally understand, this game is huge and it takes quite a lot of time to do it, and there's way too many zones to, dedicate all your time to one zone before moving on to another zone and experiencing a different story and seeing something different. Well, that's okay, because you don't have to complete every quest to get a taste for what the zone is like. What I would suggest is to at least complete the main story, which are the quests with these little icons right here. Okay, and your side quests are those little icons right there, and so there's definitely a difference, you can tell. And then after that, I would just go ahead and do the delves, grab your Sky Shards, your lore books, grab the way shrines so you can get around the map easier, and then do the group dungeon. So the group dungeons are these little things, right? And it's basically a delve that is really big and has a lot more enemies to fight. So if you do all that plus playing the main story, you're going to get a good taste of what the zone has to offer and thoroughly enjoy the zone. So my next tip to you guys would be, don't get hung up on having all the new fancy stuff in the store. And the store, meaning I'm talking about the Crown Store. A lot of it's cosmetic and it doesn't really do anything. In fact, the majority of the Crown Store is cosmetic. There are some very small things that would be considered probably boosting yourself, like experience scrolls, but let's be honest, there's not that big of a boost and it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, so all the cosmetic stuff, this includes houses that you can buy, all the furniture you can buy. There's so much to buy. I mean, if you had an unlimited bank account, you could buy everything in this game. It would take a lot of money. But anyway, things like this, don't waste your money on these. Don't waste your money on the research things. Sometimes you get them for free with the daily login rewards. That'd be another thing I would tell new people to not forget to do, because right here, instant all research, Gold Coast experience scroll. Don't forget to grab these. These are free items that will help you along your Elder Scrolls journey. But back to the Crown Store here. So don't buy these. It's a waste of money. It's just a cash grab. Same with motifs. You can farm these. Most of these you can farm, and so don't waste your 5,000 crowns on one motif. Go farm them. Go buy them from a guild store. It's way cheaper, way better, and plus it's more rewarding if you go farm them. Oh, here it actually says right here. Also, there's a chance to drop occasionally from the Stone Garden dungeon. Go farm Stone Garden. Go farm the weekly coffers from Sanity's Edge. Go farm the World Boss and Delve quests in Necrom. It gives you the answer right here. So anyway, let's talk about mounts. Now, we all love our mounts. These things, unfortunately, are one of the things that are hard to get for free. So if you were going to buy something, I'd say buy yourself one mount. I mean, if you're part of ESO Plus, you do get crowns by being an ESO Plus member. Depending on what package you buy, it dictates how many crowns you get. And so I have, almost 10,000 crowns, and I haven't really decided what to buy with them. But nonetheless, if you have a mount that you really like, say you really like the dinosaurs, the little guars, well, sure, buy yourself a guar, whatever. But don't waste your money on these clothes. I mean, unless that's your thing. If you're into ESO fashion, that's totally fine. It's not necessary. So if you don't have the crowns, you don't have the money, don't worry about it. There's clothes that you can craft that look just as cool or cooler, depending on your opinion of what is cool. Non-combat pets. So that's another cosmetic item that's not really necessary, Anyway, I digress. There is so many things that you can buy in this game, and if you like that, if you have the money, if you want to buy that, if it makes you happy, buy it. But if you don't have the money, don't worry about it. That's not the core part of the game. My next tip for new players would be to, don't forget to upgrade your mount every day, okay? You can do this once a day, essentially, and it's pretty important to do. It costs 250 gold, so if you're dirt poor, well, just sell some items, and 250 gold is pretty easy to come by. Go steal some stuff. Maybe I'll make a video on how to effectively steal items someday. Anyway, speed, stamina, carry weight. Do what you will with this. You can decide what you want to upgrade first. My recommendation would always be speed first, all the way to 60, because then you can keep up with people, your fellow players, your guildmates, fellow PvPers. Anyway, after that, do what you will. But definitely something to make sure you don't forget to do. So when it comes to upgrading gear, don't get hung up on making everything legendary or gold. It's really not necessary, because it's pretty cheap to go from normal to fine and even to superior. After that, epic can get a little expensive depending on what you're doing, but really it's not even that bad as well. But when you go to legendary, my goodness, does it get expensive. Okay, it took me forever to get 45 legendary improvement for clothing. Nonetheless, I don't use it very often, because the majority of the time, purple or epic improvement is more than enough to make you relevant in most PvP or PvE settings. Legendary doesn't really upgrade your stats that much. For instance, if we upgraded this guy to blue, we'd get quite a bump to armor. Okay, so say we did this guy to purple. So there's definitely a little bit of boost there. And because it's a belt, that's not going to be as big of a bump as if it was like a chest piece or a head piece. But let's go from purple to gold. Okay. Sure, there's a bump. But is it really worth it? Depending on the setting, sure. I would say if you're going to do gold, focus on your weapons first. Make sure your staff or your sword or your bow or whatever you use for a weapon, make sure that's gold first before you decide to gold out the rest of your gear. And then after that, do chest, head, pants, whatever. But what I mean by this is if we go and look at the gold improvement items, it's incredibly expensive. So for blacksmithing, 8 tempering alloy is 60,000 gold. That's crazy. Let's go to woodworking. Rosin, 10,000 gold for 8. Now, that's actually more doable. That's not too bad, depending on how much money you have. Clothing. Let's go to clothing. They're not selling any. That right there tells me that it's probably very expensive. So let's go to the next skill trader. All right, Drew Wax. Holy cow. 8 of them cost 131,000. Looks like average is anywhere between average is 17,000. So this is actually considered a deal. It's up to you. If you got money to blow, do it. I mean, it's cool to have legendary gear, but I mean, and it also depends on what server you're playing on. I'm on PC, NA. I don't know what EU looks like, and I do not know what the console servers look like. But it's not super important, because if you look how much it costs to do purple, it's not that bad. You get 40 of them for 7,000 gold, opposed to the gold version. You get 8 of them for 131,000. Now, you can do some shopping around, try to find a better deal, but actually, if we're looking at TTC, it looks like this is actually a fairly good deal. So, like I said, go to purple, don't worry about being legendary. If you do have the money to be legendary, do the weapons first and then go from there. But that's just my recommendation. That's what I would do. So when it comes to PvP, give yourself some grace. There's always going to be someone better than you, and no matter what, have fun with it. But don't let it ruin the game and consume you to the point you can't even enjoy the other parts of the game. Believe me, I have friends that this has happened to. There's always going to be lag, and whether or not it's actually there or not. So, like I said, just have fun with it. It's the point of PvP is to be able to interact and play with other players, not to be good. And if you're good, that's great. But if you're not, like me, well, that's great too, because it's all about the fun. I just decided to take that guy off of his horse, and he's probably going to kill me because I was not set up correctly. Nor am I proficient at PvP, obviously. But that's okay, because it's about the fun. There's many different types of PvP in this game as well. You have, the big one, Cyrodiil, and you have Imperial City, which is pretty cool too. Different type of PvP/PvE, and as well as you have the Battlegrounds, which is fun too. So figure out what you like. Maybe you don't like PvP at all. There's plenty of PvE content, but if you do like PvP, that's great. There's a little variety. So like I said, as a new player, just enjoy the game, take your time, don't rush, and just kind of maybe take in the view of this game. I mean, this game is gorgeous in my opinion. I know this game was made in 2014, and there's a lot of varying opinion on whether or not this game looks pretty or not, but I mean, for an MMO, I would argue that it does. I mean, you can see very far, and you got that nice fog in the distance, just makes it have more of a depth. Anyway, you can tell I'm kind of an enjoyer of game art, so to speak. But anyway, those are my tips for new players. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, share the video, whatever. Maybe subscribe if you want to see more. That would be greatly appreciated. In the comments below, let me know what you thought, and let me know what tips you would give to new players. Say you have a buddy that has asked you about ESO, and he's like, "Hey, give me some new tips." Just let me know. What would you tell them? So anyway, until next time, guys, I will see you in the next one.